So after all the concentrating in the sluice, after all the reconcentrating in the blue bowl, panning it out, all the work you've done so far, now is where it all comes together and you actually start seeing your clean, purified gold. So I've taken what I have in my snifter bottle, which I've been collecting for the last hour or so as I've walked through the blue bowl and whatnot, and it's down in here now. But we want to know how much we have, just for curiosity's sake, not that it really matters. And we want to put it in the vial so that it can be with its friends and all be nice and shiny with them. So to do that, we want to make sure we don't get any black sand in there, no nasty stuff. And so this is how we go about purifying it. I should tell you that most people don't go this far. Most people are pretty sloppy at this point, and they just put some black sand in there and they're okay with that. But I want to get it clean. So I take the snifter bottle with my gold in it. Find a small plastic container like this if you can. A round one is nice because it'll fit right over the top of this and seal pretty close. But a square one like this will work as well. And if you have the round one, set it over here like this, turn upside down, and as it's coming out, shake it like this, because otherwise the gold will get caught in the shoulders of this jar. Do this over top of a gold pan in case you lose some. Now look down in there, and you're going to see a little bit of black sand. No matter how careful you are, you're almost going to wind up with a little bit at this point. And that's where this magnet comes in. This is a pretty strong magnet. Now gold is not magnetic. Black sand is. At least about 2/3 of the black sand is, depending where you are. So you can get most of the black sand out by just running along the edge here, shaking your gold around down there, and bringing the magnet and pulling the black sand right up the side. Once you get all up in a pile, take your finger and pull it the rest of the way out. And there's a little dusting of black sand that won't be in the bottle. Do that a couple of times so you get all concentrated in one place that you can. Work up the side and get it out of there. Alright, so I got most of the rest of the black sand out of here. There's a tiny little bit left, but even I'm not going to worry about that. I don't see any mercury flakes in that I need to pull out, so this is ready to go in the vial. Now most people just guess at how much is in the vial. And the idea is when the vial is completely topped off, it's just about an ounce, give or take a little bit. Now this is a troy ounce, so it's not the same as a regular ounce. A regular ounce is about 29.5 grams. Troy ounce is about 31.25 or so. So it's a little bit more weight than the troy ounce. And that's how gold is always measured. So this is a regular gram scale. They're pretty cheap. They use them for medicine. They use them for various types of jewelry and things like that. And you can even buy them at Harbor Freight, although the last one I bought that didn't work. Anyway, turn it on, set it to grams. Now, get the outside of this really dry, because we're going to weigh this with the water in it. And this is a trick that most people don't know. You can actually weigh the gold even though it's in the vial and even though it's got water in it and get a pretty accurate reading. Take the water in it and top it off to where you've got a nice pile of surface tension on top of the vial. Doesn't matter where it is as long as you're consistent with always having the same amount on top of there. I spilled a little bit, so I'm going to dry it off again. It's important not to have any extra drops because the drops will mess up the weight measurement. Put one more drop on there. 2 more drops, okay. Now, set that down on the scales. And it said at 35.65 grams. So I weighed this vial when it was empty, with the same amount of water in there I have in now, up to the top and rounded over, and it weighed 9.8 grams. So that fact that it weighs 35.65 grams now means I've got about 25.85 grams in there. Now, I'm displacing some water when I put gold in there, but it's a ratio of 19.28, I think, to 1, which means that for every 19 grams of gold I have, I'm losing 1 gram of water. What that means is I actually have slightly more than that in the vial. It's not an exact method, but it's a very close method, and on a day-to-day basis it does a pretty good job of showing you how much you got this day versus the last day. So I know 35.63 grams now. The number changed from a minute ago. Now, take one of these funnels. You can buy this at the same place you bought your gold vials, usually, and wedge it down in there. They're designed so they fit just down inside of here. Take this, I put some water back in my snifter bottle so I can use it as a squirt bottle. Pour your gold down in there. Pull it out. Be a little bit careful pulling it out, especially when you've got quite a bit of gold in your vial, because you don't want the water flowing down in here to wash your gold out. So keep an eye on that. But don't pull it all the way out of here until you get it all drained out, because otherwise little pieces of gold that could be stuck on the side of here will wash out into your pan. Which is incidentally why I'm doing this over a pan, in case we do miss some. So now we dry it off again. Okay, so now I'm going to top it off so that it matches the last time. And I usually try to put as much as the surface tension will hold on there. About like that. and that weighs 36.31 grams, which means it's about 0.71, 0.68, about 0.68 from where I was before. So now I've got roughly 27 or so grams in there, allowing probably close to 28, allowing for the amount of water I've displaced. So that gives me a pretty close track of how much gold I've got in here. If I really want to find out, the only way to do that is to take it, put it in some sort of a pan on the stove, boil the water off, and then you have the gold left, dump it out on the scales and weigh it. But that's pretty tedious, and there's just no reason to do that when all you want to know is roughly how much you got. So I know I got about 3/4 of a gram in that little pile, which means that the running around I've done the last couple of days, trying to find a new place to dig for gold, just playing around mostly, nothing really serious as far as working goes, has netted me about $40 worth of gold, give or take. And I'm getting pretty close to having my vial here full. I've got another vial full of nuggets in there that I've gotten from different places I keep separate. But this vial is my flakes I've gotten out of this river here, so it's been pretty good now. So one other thing I want to show you. Put the lid back on here now. Now, it's not going to work very well right now because I don't have much black sand because I've been pretty obsessive about keeping it clean. But what you do is you take your magnet and hold it up against the side of your vial. You shake it like this. Put the magnet on top. Rotate the vial, shake some more. Rotate, shake some more. Keep doing this process until you start getting all the black sand up on the top. And then you work your magnet up here like this, keeping an eye on the black sand into there, until you get around the top. Shake it around up there. And this is going to get all the black sand in there thrown up near the top of the vial so they can get close enough to the magnetic field to grab onto it. And then you unscrew the cap and take your vial cap off and wash it off, and you get that black sand out of there. And so even if you get a little bit of magnetic black sand in here, you can pull it out that way. It's another little trick I learned. So that's pretty much all you need to know about finishing gold and how to purify it. And that basically concludes the first series of gold videos we have planned. We're going to go on another series now. In the first video series, you learned how to recognize gold, where it is, what it's like, how to use the various tools involved, and that kind of thing. Now we're going to move on to more specifics about how to work in specific areas, how to work in crevices, how to work in dry creeks, and how to work in small creeks, large rivers, that kind of thing. So this is your foundation of what you need to know to find gold, and this is a lot more than I had to start with when I started working. And in about 40 days or so of working gold, and that is about 4 to 6 hours most days, starting from having no tools, knowing nothing really about gold, to where I am now. I found about 1.25 ounces of gold this summer. And that's, like I said, about 40 days. So that's a pretty good record, actually, considering how little I had when I started with, having to accumulate all the tools and build a lot of them myself. And I'm pretty happy with that. So that's a good portion of my summer's work right there.